Whether you've got long femurs, short arms, or something in between, your anatomy plays a huge role in how you should approach the deadlift. In this video, I'll team up with some new friends to break down the mechanics of the perfect deadlift for your body type. Plus, I'll share a quick test to help you discover whether your anatomy is more cut out for conventional or sumo deadlifting. But first, let's go over the basics. You need to understand the three fundamental pillars of a textbook starting position for the conventional deadlift that should be applied to everyone, no matter your anatomy. First, the barbell should be positioned over the midpoint of your foot. Next, align the center of the barbell with your posterior deltoid or spine of the scapula. And finally, connect the bar to your shins. These technique points are for everyone, no matter how tall or short you are. Even the tallest strongmen apply these three pillars in their lifts. Now, let's explore how specific anatomical variations can change and alter the starting position of a deadlift while still adhering to those three fundamental pillars. Today, we'll focus on the two most significant factors: limb length and torso length. To find your torso length, grab a measuring tape and find the length between your hip bone and the distance to the top of your head. For your leg length, start at your hip bone and measure the distance to the floor. Next, plug in those measurements into this simple formula and see what you find. In a scientific study conducted in 2020, researchers found that if you have a long torso or long legs, it can potentially impact your deadlift technique. When a lifter has proportionally shorter legs or a longer torso, their hips will often be positioned slightly lower than their traditional textbook deadlift form. Additionally, their knees will be in a deeper flexed position, requiring them to rely more on leg drive to lift the weight. In contrast, when a lifter has proportionally longer legs or a shorter torso, their hips will often need to be positioned slightly higher than the traditional textbook deadlift form in order to align the body with the three fundamental pillars. Now, I know what you might be thinking. Doesn't a more horizontal back position put the low back at more risk? While a higher hip position does place more load on the lumbar spine, the deadlift can still be perfectly executed with minimal risk if you follow these two steps. Step 1, we want to lock the spine in place and minimize movement during the lift. The more back movement we see, the more risk of injury rises. Proper bracing limits excessive spine motion. To learn how to brace your core, stick your fingers into the sides of your stomach. Take a breath in a way that expands your torso to the side and pushes your fingers away. Then engage your ab muscles to create torso stiffness. For the second step, let's learn from the GOAT of powerlifting, Ed Coan.
My object was, how can I use my whole body into whatever movement I'm doing? As I grab the bar and pull the tension out, all of a sudden every muscle from my neck down to my lower back gets squeezed and pulled in tight, which I guess is to protect my spine and maintain that position. At the same time, I try to wiggle my hips in closer to the bar under tension, and then my glutes are just ready to explode right from the bottom.
Basically build that pre-tension in your hips ever before the bars move from the ground.
Yes, in my whole body. Most people don't preload their hips enough. That's why their butts come up, and they end up using way too much back.
So even though your hips may be a bit higher in your start position, depending on your anatomy variation, as long as you brace your core and pre-engage your glutes at the start to limit excessive hips rising, you can still have a very strong and safe deadlift. Now, before we move on, if you're someone who struggles with any aches and pains, be sure to check out my injury fix book, Rebuilding Milo. It will walk you through the exact tests and corrective exercises I use with some of the best athletes in the world to help them fix their injuries. I'll have a link in the show notes after this video. Let's now discuss whether you'd possibly feel more comfortable pulling conventional or sumo technique. And no, sumo isn't cheating for these two reasons. First, in powerlifting competitions, both conventional and sumo deadlifts are explicitly allowed, meaning neither is considered an unfair advantage. Second, sumo isn't necessarily easier. For example, according to current world records, the heaviest deadlift ever recorded is a conventional deadlift, while the heaviest sumo deadlift is considered to be slightly lower. Each technique challenges the body differently. The sumo stance reduces the range of motion, but it requires more hip mobility, glute strength, and adductor engagement. Conversely, the conventional deadlift involves more back and hamstring activation. Choosing a style that aligns with your body mechanics isn't cheating, it's smart training. And one key factor, arm length, can determine which technique may be best for you. Measure from the tip of your shoulder, right where the humeral head is, down to the tip of your third finger. In that same research study we discussed earlier, the researchers found that if your arms account for significantly more or less than 38% of your total body length, it could potentially influence which deadlift technique may feel best to you. If your arms are longer than average, conventional deadlifts may feel more natural because they reduce the range of motion needed. If your arms are shorter than average, you may find sumo deadlifts easier since they minimize torso lean and allow for a more upright start. And if your arms are average length, you'll likely have success with either style. It all depends on your preference and comfort. Now that you have a better understanding of how your anatomy can affect your deadlift technique and what style may be best for you, check out this video to find out how anatomy variations can affect your squat technique.